guys, we're back. Nailed it. We nailed that. And I'm going to keep this in for reference in the sense of that took us a few times.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're back on the podcast, back to essentially staying in the same house.
Yeah. So back to just being here.
Yeah, back to just being here, back to living our lives with this exciting new thing of tomorrow is our anniversary.
Yeah, it'll be a whole year since we moved in, which is exciting. We've lost some people along the way, gained some more.
Lots of them, they moved out though.
Yeah, they didn't die.
No one dies. Everyone is absolutely okay in this house. But yeah, I think it's insane to me that it's been a year. Like it genuinely feels like we moved in like a couple months ago.
Yeah, it has been so quick. Yeah, and like looking back, it's like it's been a long time, but it's also been no time. And I'm kind of like, I don't even know what I've done this year. Yeah, that's like made it gone so quick. Like I kind of feel like I've done nothing really.
Well, we'll reminisce on this, and let's see what we can come up with that we actually have done this year. I mean, so we took a break for the summer. Yeah. Unintentionally kind of took a break. We kind of were like, oh no, we'll continue doing this, and then we both just got very, very busy, and we kept missing each other, and
it was hard.
Yeah, it was hard just to actually find a time that we could both sit down and actually film this podcast, and then obviously the editing behind the scenes that gets involved with it, and then we weren't keeping up with like our socials and everything. So don't know if you guys have been checking it out, but mysteriously everything seems to have disappeared from the Chatter Queens social pages. But yeah, exciting things are going to come up, and we're excited to share those all with you. But speaking of summer, I feel like we got to a fair bit this summer.
Yeah, we should. I feel like it was like a lot of really busy weekends. There's also a lot of like, I would go traveling a little bit, you would go traveling a little bit, and it just seemed that we didn't really coordinate our calendars to actually both be home and away at the same time. It was very difficult to have. And then my brother came to like stay for a month, and so obviously
missed opportunity here. Connor, I don't know if you're watching this. You should be watching this.
He could have been our guest.
Could have been a very good guest.
Come back.
Yes, we'll get him. We'll get him on this podcast at some point.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you went to Greece.
Twice.
Twice. Yeah. Greece twice. Yes. You went to Prague. I didn't go anywhere as exotic. I went home.
You went to Turkey.
I did go to Turkey.
Forget that was this year as well. To be fair.
Yeah, like, that was a long time.
Did you go anywhere? No, you did. You went to Turkey. It's been for me travel heavy year this year. I didn't, as much as I always dream that it will be. Like I never actually thought it would end up being quite travel-y. But so I did Prague for some friends' birthdays. I would recommend. As bad as it sounds, I've never had this urge to go explore Europe. Like I've been to like Italy with my family, France with school, and then like we did Disneyland when we were kids. But like I've never like been like, oh my god, Europe. Like my dream's always been like Japan and Singapore and like everywhere not that I could get to in an hour, and that would be cheaper. But my friends have started this tradition where they like exploring on their birthdays. So last year we did Budapest. This year we did Prague. I think next year might be Barcelona. So girlies, if you're listening, I'm pretty sure that's what we're saying, but I don't know, whatever you guys pick, I'm a yes man. I will say yes to everything. So it's a really lovely tradition that we've been doing. And you know what, it's been nice to actually see parts of the country that I didn't understand the appeal to. And that sounds quite bad. Prague is a very lovely city. I think in my mind I was just like, but what's in Prague? What am I going to go see?
I get you, but I think also that's more of like a mindset of Europe's so close to you. It's always been so close to you.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like that thing when it's on your doorstep, you don't really want to do it.
Yeah.
You know, like I would love to travel around Europe, but I think it's also because I can't travel around Europe. I'm like, I wish.
Yeah.
But yeah, like definitely on my bucket list of places to go. I was meant to go to Prague. I didn't go to Prague. It's very sad. I got left behind.
Touchy subject.
Yeah, sensitive subject. Got left behind for Prague, so I was sad. But
not by me for reference.
It wasn't. I just made it seem like it was entirely you that left me. No, Isla did not leave me. I think you were with me when I got left.
Yeah, I kept you company. It was all okay.
That's true.
But yeah, so Prague with the friends, and then actually I turned 24, so I'm now older than you, which I'm not enjoying realistically in this house. I mean, it makes me a bit happier to know that Kaylee is like a year or two older than us. I'm like, okay, I'm not the oldest, but Kay's boyfriend Alex doesn't really love the fact that we're all older than him.
Yeah, he loves the fact that he's younger than us.
Yes.
One of the most annoying things about him. If not the most.
But so I did Athens for my actual birthday, which was really lovely. I didn't realize, and I don't know if this is going to be a useful travel tip, but everyone already knew this and I didn't, but Athens you can genuinely do in a day. We did every site in Athens within a day, and then forgot to plan for like the next 2-3 days that we were there, because we were kind of like, bloody hell, we've like climbed up to the Acropolis, we've seen all the temples, and it's like, how have we managed to do this in a day? In my poor friend Kate, if you're listening, I'm sorry, driving around in like 37-degree heat, being like, we're fine, it's okay. She's like, no, I'm dying, it's hot. And I was like, yeah, I'm a bad friend. I shouldn't do that. But yeah, it was really lovely, and I couldn't have asked to be in a better place or like with better people on my actual birthday, which is really lovely. And then came back and we did sports day.
Yeah,
which was really fun.
Yeah, got to meet all your friends from back home.
Yes.
That was cool. So it's like strange when like two worlds collide and you're like,
it's like, because I visit them all the time.
Yeah,
they know I live with you. But genuinely, it was nice having like all my friends.
Yeah,
in one
it was
place.
really nice.
Yeah, we did something wholesome. We did a sports day. We played some rounders, and I was like, was it you who didn't know what rounders was, or was it Ella?
I had never played rounders before.
I thought it was shocking to British culture. I'm like, rounders was such a staple.
Yeah, I thought it's like softball.
It's kind of similar, I would say. Like rounders,
I always thought they were the same.
Baseball and softball are the same, aren't they?
I don't know.
Oh, I'm going to assume.
I think that it's the same, but just with a softball.
Yeah. Also with like a different style pitch, because our friend George brought her friend Jamie along, and he tried to like make it a diamond. I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Is that baseball? Is a diamond?
Baseball's a diamond, yeah. And I was like, no, wrong sport. We're not doing this.
I also had like 4 different people telling me the rules of the game, and I was like, I don't understand the rules of this game.
Yeah.
What do you mean? And then like everyone was like, no, it's like this. No, it's like that. And I'm like, I feel like you guys don't know the game.
Oh no, I think
it doesn't make sense.
Every person grows up playing like what they know is their version,
Yeah.
and then I don't know if different schools just did different things. So then
Probably.
But yeah, I think we had very fun, wholesome time.
Yeah.
Week after, I ended up going home as well to celebrate with my family, which was nice. I actually got like my actual birthday when I was with my family, which was weird. So I was like, no, I turned 24 like 2 weeks ago. But I was like, no. This is when this is my 24th year. And then, we ended up doing a surprise family vacation to Rhodes a couple of weeks ago. So that was third on my list this year, which was exciting. I was shocked at Rhodes. I was surprised how lovely it was, which I know.
Really?
Okay, right. That sounds really offensive every time I say that. But like, it was lovely in the sense of, I think I had no expectations. And then I went and I was like, oh, it's gorgeous. And I think I would have wished, so I was allowed to work while I was away. My company is very lovely and they let me do that. They were kind of like, you should log into Wi-Fi that's secure, which I could. So I had 2 days sort of around the pool with my family going exploring. And then I had 2 days of working. Now, that was great. And I understand there are people that are like, but if you can, just take your laptop and go. The reality of you working abroad, well, everyone else is having a fun time and you're all with a laptop in a room. It actually isn't as fun as people make it out to be. Like, it's like, oh, but then during your lunch, you went for a swim. I was like, and then I have to get out the pool and make sure I'm all properly dressed for them if I've got a meeting after lunch. So, you know what? Pros and cons to it. I think willingly, I would want to work out on like a family vacation or even a friend's vacation unless everyone was working. Then I'd be like, okay, well, it's fine because we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
But so that was really lovely. Again, I'd really recommend. We stayed south of Rhodes. I would say it was great because it was all paid for, but no, I now pay my mother in installments for the next five months, being like, I'm paying you back for the holiday, Mum. It's fine. The days of being paid for on holiday are over.
Yeah, it's always a sad time.
I know. I didn't think it'd be this. I thought I'd
so sudden.
I thought I'd at least get to like marriage. I was like, oh yeah, and then my husband will pay for it. Yeah, I was like, then he can pay for my family trips. Like that's fine. But no, apparently I moved out wanting to be independent. And they're like, well, you're independent, Isla.
Yeah.
Stop going on so many holidays. And I was like, well, if you paid for this one, I could go on more.
Yeah.
Just hindsight thing. But yeah, I feel like that's kind of been my summer. Multiple trips up to Manchester to see my friends. So. And a few trips home for family birthdays and just like being home and stuff. But that's it, really. I feel like that sums up my summer. Trying to travel as much as I could.
Yeah.
And just seeing everybody. But like I said, I think we were just seeing each other at different times. Like I either would be away or like say like plan things with like other friends. I'd be in Manchester, or then I'd be home and then you'd say maybe in Bristol or like in Brighton with Alex or in Wales. Yeah,
I did go to Wales. I did not as many exotic trips, I guess. I did go back home to South Africa, which I guess that's exotic.
I forget you did. When did you go back to South Africa?
In like June-ish.
Oh, yeah, Sorry, yes. I was like, when I came back, I was like, was I just not home when you were in South Africa? But I was like, no, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like 2 weeks in June, I think, which obviously is very nice. And like, I guess that is exotic, but like, it's also just like going home.
Yeah.
So it's different. But we did go to stay in the bush for like the whole time, which was so nice because we had like no signal whatsoever. And for those of you who don't know, my job is kind of stressful and it's kind of a lot sometimes. So it was actually nice to be completely unreachable.
Yeah.
Because like literally as soon as I came back and got into Wi-Fi again, my phone was like bing, 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 bing. And then it was like, I know you're on holiday, but. And I was just like, oh my God, so stressful. So it was nice to have like proper like 10 days where none of it happened. Also, completely by chance, ended up going back and it was like my great uncle's 80th birthday party.
Oh, nice.
Which was a complete accident. So then poor Alex got like dragged to this massive family gathering of people that I don't even know and like people I haven't seen in literally like 20 years. And so he got like introduced to literally 100 people.
He just now knows the whole entire world.
Yeah, he knows like my dad's whole family. But yeah, so that was really good to see, you know, that side of the family that I haven't seen in a very long time. So that was really nice. Then, yeah, I went up to Wales to see my cousins and my uncle and aunt who live up there. That's always nice. I had my brother come and stay for a month, which was really cool. He's just started uni, and it was nice to have him come stay. Like, obviously, don't really get to see him that often. So it was nice to have, like, a couple of weeks with him before he went off to uni. Also nice that he is now in the UK and reachable, and, like, maybe we'll see him a bit more. Yeah. I don't know. Probably not, though. But
he's like, I have a sister. I now live where I live, and that is that.
Yeah. And then my mom came for like 2 weeks. That was also nice. So a lot of family stuff, which is really nice because I don't really get to see them that often. So that was really good. But yeah, it just felt like there was a lot happening over the weekends. So normally that's when we film.
Yeah.
And then couldn't really do the weeks because I was getting home kind of late and, you know, don't really want to start filming super late. Plus like when I'm getting home late and then also like having to eat dinner and shower, get ready for the next day. And then like filming was just a bit of a struggle to like make that all work.
Yeah. So yeah, our timing's kind of just like crisscross schedule wise. And then we kind of, I guess, like you had to sit down to be like, what do we want to do with this podcast? Was it something that we just enjoyed doing? And we were like, and that was it. That was a lot of fun. Tee-hee. Or is this something we want to continue? And we both kind of agreed that we really enjoyed doing this. We want to pave it forward.
Yeah.
Like, obviously at the moment, I know most of this audience it's friends, it's family friends, it's family members. We're so grateful for everyone who has listened so far. Our dream is to just expand this a bit more though, and kind of just be that sounding board for other people who've just moved to London. And like almost like the way I've said this to, I think, a friend of ours, I was like, I would just love that if people could like tune in and listen and just not feel so alone, really.
Yeah.
I know that obviously London has like Lonely Girls London or like City Girls clubs and like all these different groups that you can go to and get these activities. But I still feel like sometimes you go and you still feel like the loneliest person in the room.
Yeah. But it's also like those are all things you have to like go out and do. But if you're someone who's like at home or on a walk or whatever, and you just kind of need to have the background chatter of people.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like we are. We're good background noise, like white noise, go to sleep too.
I love it like white noise. I'm like, no, pay attention, try and join in. But no, I think there's a few podcasts I listen to where it's like you feel like you're part of someone's conversation. Like you're like, it's like you're sat in the room with them. And I think that's, for me, that's the goal I want to have from this podcast, is to make people feel less alone, know that we're all out there, and like just help with anything. I mean, we have this constant joke of mine, right? That you can sit me in a room with like any boy, and somehow I'll get trauma dumped on. It's like every problem will come out. And I'm not saying that's an advocate for everyone to just like then trauma dump, but I'm also like, if you have
exciting stories,
if we have problems you want to talk through, I do find that we're quite good sounding boards for trying to help you out, or like just help solve that dilemma, or even just if you think you're going insane, because I've had a few times, I'm like, am I being crazy, or has this come across like this, and what do I do? I think we do it to each other as well. We're like, if I say this, is this rude? Is this like...
Yeah, I definitely have to sometimes, like, or like someone will message me something, and I'll be like, whoa, what a fucking bitch. And then I'll like be like, Isla, can you believe this person did this? And then Isla's like, no, that seems fair. And I'm like, oh, okay.
I'm reading that and then you're reading that thing.
Okay, I think maybe I was the crazy one in that situation. So yeah, it's nice just to like have another person who sees it from a different point of view, and then you can be like, am I justified, not justified? Or just like someone that listens to what you're saying.
Yeah, I feel like that's what most people want. I find that when I rant to friends or they rant to me, sometimes all you want is someone just to listen. Maybe say something, maybe don't.
Yeah. No, agreed. So I hope that's what we are, and that's what we plan to do moving forward. So yeah, so we are, obviously, because we're back, continuing, and it's going to be good.
Yeah, back and better than ever, baby. Yeah. Okay. So I think we're gonna now just deep dive into what our years look like. I mean, we've been here for a year, and you've kind of been with us. I want to say
a portion of it.
Yeah, like to be like technical speaking, like Q2, Q3 for like the few of the quarters. But just to kind of get an insight into like what our first year in London looked like. I mean, I would say I'm gonna ask you, what has been your highest moment so far in this house? Or like, well, okay, not to just say this house, highest moment that you've lived in London with.
Oh my gosh, that's a real hard question. Also wasn't expecting it, even though we planned this together. To be honest, I don't really know. It sounds kind of sad, but I would say I haven't really had a highest point, because like I haven't really had like a really low point either. Like there's been no point when I've been like yeah, I've been stressed or whatever, but I haven't been like, this is the best thing ever.
Okay.
I think, to be honest, if you were to say my highest point, it would literally be the 1st of October last year, which was move-in day. Because like, because obviously it was like all the new beginnings and the new startings, and I had actually made it my last year's New Year's resolution to be living and working and like independent in London by like like the last New Year's we just had. So I don't know, a year and a half ago, I wanted to be in London by last year January. So I'd like, that was kind of me succeeding on that point, which I would say kind of harsh from my entire family, because they were like, why don't you set more realistic goals? And I was like, what the fuck, guys? What do you mean? So like, because backstory is my family does this thing on like around the 2nd of January, where, because obviously everyone's out on New Year's Eve and everyone's like hungover on the 1st. So on the 2nd of January, we have like family New Year's Eve.
Okay.
And then you all write down your predictions for the next year. And I think each person gets like 4 or 5 and like what you want to have achieved by the next year. And then we seal it like in a jar, and my mom keeps it, and we bring it out then the following year. And on the following year, you read through, and then for every one you've achieved, you take a shot, and everyone you haven't achieved, you take like 2 shots or whatever. So it's quite fun. And my New Year's resolutions, I think, were like to pass my degree, to have a job living in London, and like a job I enjoyed. It was like I specified I want to have a job I'm enjoying in London and be like financially independent. And I think it was to read a book and maybe run 5Ks. I don't know. So like I wasn't like shooting for the stars here. I was just very average things. And everyone was like, that's fucking shit New Year's resolutions. And I was like, guys, come on. And then like everyone else said theirs, and they were all like, that's so good. That's so good.
Yeah.
And I was like, what about mine? And everyone's like, yours fucking sucked. Anyway, I achieved my own. I don't think I read a book, but I did move to London, and I did have a job that I enjoyed at the time. And just kidding, I do enjoy my job. But yeah, I did have a job. I was living in London. I was financially independent. So I think, moving in on that 1st of October, it was like all of that was happening, and it was really exciting. And obviously also the prospect of like moving in with a whole bunch of new girls was really exciting, and like starting a little, like my own little community in London was cool. A little bit nerve-wracking, because I was kind of like, what if like I don't like any of them, or they don't like me? But then it was still like, you know, it's still exciting, and it's like starting the first day of school vibes. So yeah, in a long roundabout way of saying it, that is probably my highest moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
What about you?
Oh, okay. It's never going to be as profound as that. That's just making me feel back. So I think my highest moment are very like, it's almost like superficial things. For me, I think it's not just one high moment. I've just loved every little moment that we have had in this house. So like whether it be when we went to go watch Wicked together, I was like, that was so lovely to do as a house. When we do our Sunday roast, so I was like, I just love the community that comes when you like live with your friends.
Yeah.
And I think almost like one of my lows was essentially that first move-in day, because you've got these new girls who you don't know.
So peak.
No, but you know, okay, like in a different way of it, it's more, I've just come from like living, say like the year before that, like my final year of uni.
Yeah.
I genuinely had like the loveliest girls I've ever lived with, and they are now some like my closest friends, and I adore them. And I think I didn't want to put that expectation onto this household.
Yeah.
I think when I was moving, I was like, I was really trying to keep myself low spirits. I was like, I don't want to go in with like all these expectations, be like, we're gonna all be really best friends, and everyone's getting along so well. And like I had to go in with like, I had to really tamper myself down. So I was like, I don't want to enforce this, and then no one wants to be my friend because she'd be like, well, why aren't we doing things like this? So then So not like it was one of my lowest moments. I think it was just a hard day to move in. Should have worded that better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for me, every high moment has just genuinely been like the small things we've done together as a
Yeah.
house. Like individually, like when me and George say like made biscuits and we like decorated them for Christmas, like all the Sunday roasts we've done, the trip to Wicked, things like that. I think like even like I guess perk wise for like job being able to be like, oh my god, my job lets me go to like a cinema, like we went to Mad Max, like things like that. I think have been my like highs. I don't think I've got like one specific high moment.
Yeah, I get you.
But yeah, not yet. I would say, let's be honest, we all know that my low was the minute Tom Cruise, the
Yeah.
mouse, made an appearance in our kitchen.
I was gonna say, I don't even have to ask you.
Yeah, that was the lowest moment of I did not step foot in this kitchen for an entire month. Like I don't know how I did. I think
Yeah.
everything was in storage boxes in my
I
room.
did think that you were like gonna leave at one point.
Oh, I
was
very
like,
much had a
Isla's
mental breakdown.
literally having a mental breakdown
Yeah,
with this whole thing.
Yeah, I was going to work, complaining about it, coming home, and then like locking myself in my room. So like, I genuinely can't sit in that kitchen anymore. That mouse is haunting my dreams. I couldn't sleep properly because I kept hearing scratches, and I was like, oh my god, it's gonna crawl into my life. Like Ella's
Kind of miss him though.
Pardon?
Kind of miss him.
I
though.
miss nobody. He should not be welcome back. Like Ella's ex-boyfriend now, but he threatened to put the like dead mouse in my bed with me, or like catch it live and put it in. I was like, well, no, I just definitely can't sleep. So like, it's just gonna be like a mouse in my bed if I wake up.
No, every time I see like a mouse meme, I'm like, Isla.
Yeah, Kate thinks it's really funny. I'm like, this is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, I think if you compare like what my low to was to my highs, like when I say moving in was a low, it wasn't a low. It was just like I guess a hard moment.
I guess it's just kind of like the different perspectives of moving in. For like me, I guess I was more just kind of like excited to be in London and to be working. And I was like, I hope I get along with you guys. But like, yeah, I don't know. It was more like the fact that I was like, had a job was pretty exciting. So I'd say like that's more like, it was more just the fact that it was like a new beginning is a high.
Yeah.
Whereas like maybe you were a bit more, and this isn't also entirely me just taking what you just said and being like, let me analyze it for you. This could all be wrong, but you're a bit more like, you know, you've just lived at home, like comfortable at home. Your last house was like your best friend. So it's like a lot to live up to.
Yeah, I think also I don't do well with change. I think that's probably why Tom freaked me the fuck out, because the first time I found a mouse in my house and I was like, no, not a fan. I don't like this change. But I think change for me, I do struggle with it a bit.
Yeah.
And so to go from like a comfort zone, say, of my house, and I'll be honest, like, and I said this to sort of anyone who's listening who knows me, I've never actually wanted to live in London. That was never my dream. Like I loved coming as a child for like visits. I loved coming as a teen to like look around the shops or go to a play or like go get some food with my family. Like we come for like the Palestinian marches. Like I loved coming to London for visits on the weekend. I was like, oh, I desperately want to live here. Like it's never been a goal and dream of mine. So I think that also like added the anticipation and the fact that like my other friends had all moved to Manchester together and I was like, I'm going to be alone. Yeah. So I think for me, like, as much as it was like, oh, I should look at it as like an exciting opportunity. And it was. I am glad I've done it. And I would never look back and be like, I regret doing this. Yeah. It was the perfect time to do it. And I'm happy because I've made really lovely friends out of it. I think just in that moment, it did seem really scary and daunting. And I never gave myself enough time to process it because it was almost like,
it was very sudden.
Yeah, I got the job and then it was like, I don't have a place to live. And then the London housing market is a shit show. Apologies for anyone who's looking right now. Godspeed. Yeah. Good luck. No, it is a nightmare. Yeah, and I don't think it ever gets any better, but I think we were looking at a time where it's like all the uni students are moving in. So I'm like, if you're a uni student listening, fuck you, you're ruining everyone else's lives with your renting because somehow you've got more money than the rest of us do to actually like outbid everybody. Yeah. So I think, the whole move itself, I think, was stressful. And then me being me was trying not to get my hopes up, being like, oh my God, everyone else in the house can also be best friends and we're all going to get along really well. And then what happened with that is I lowered my expectations so badly that like when we did become friends, I'm like, that's why these moments are the highest of highs. Like, I didn't think this would happen.
Just we're doing basic friendship, literally bare minimum friendship, and you're like, this is the highest my life has ever been.
This is my life, can't get any better than this. This is what it was meant to be.
Like we go for a walk to get a coffee. I'm so happy.
Yeah, the tears streaming down, like writing my journal, being like, and then we went for a walk.
Today was like the best day ever.
But like I know it's
kind of cute though.
Yeah, I know it sounds quite sad, but like I'm like, it just makes me appreciate all the moments more. Because I'm like, it could have easily been my worst.
It could have been a really bad year. Yeah,
and like I think I always have like, so for some reason it sounds really crazy. I like preparing for like the worst case scenario. Yeah. Like I love just being, and I know that sounds because it just stresses people out more when they have to prepare for it. But I'm like, I would rather all my bases covered that I'm going to move into this house, hate everybody, and it was only going to be for a year, and then I could just move back home or move up to Manchester and everything was going to be fine. Like I always had like an escape plan in mind.
Yeah.
And then that way, when I then moved in and it turned out great, I was like, oh my God, that's an even bigger sigh of relief. Rather than coming in with the high hopes of like, oh my God, we're all going to be besties and it's all going to be great. And if, say like, not that there's anything wrong with it, but I think when you go in with expectations of being like, everything's going to be fantastic, and then one little thing goes wrong, I think it's easier to break you rather than if you're going in with like lower expectations and then like things only seem to get better. And I'm like, yay, we all get on. It's all really well.
Yeah, I get you. I mean, yeah, I think like leading up to actually moving in, I was very stressed as well because there was like a lot had gone on, a lot of moving. I'd moved houses so many times. I obviously was nervous to like move into this place. In a place like London, as in like I'd never lived in a place this big before or this busy before, or like worked in like a proper girl job. Like it was a lot, but yeah, I would still say it was my highest just because it was like it started everything else.
Yeah.
So from that point of view, it's my highest.
Nice. Do you have a low?
There was like a week in March when it was pretty low. And I thought I was gonna get made redundant.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I feel as though I can talk about it now because it's been and gone so long.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically the company that I work for had a bit of a rough patch, and then had another bit of a rough patch. So between I think it was like March and April were quite difficult months because there were a lot of people let go from the company, and there was a lot of overworking that was happening, and like I remember this one evening so clearly when I was at work and it was like someone's leaving drinks or something, but the entire office was going to drinks somewhere.
Yeah.
And I had to get this project finished. And like bear in mind, no one was making me stay there and do this project. Like no one was like, Caitlin, you have to get this done. But I was like so stressed out and so overwhelmed because I was needing to get that one project done because it was like 2 weeks late or whatever. But I also had like 5 others that I had to get done. So I was just like, I need to stay here and finish it. And I think it got to about like 9 p.m. and I was still in the office and it was like getting dark and there was no one else there. And I couldn't figure out whatever it was that I was trying to figure out. And I remember having like this full-on breakdown and I was on the phone to like Alex and I was crying so much that I couldn't see my keyboard through my tears. And I was just like, the fuck have I done with my life? Like, why am I here? This sucks. And then Alex was like, you just need to go home and you need to chill. And I was like, you don't understand. Like, I physically can't go home because I'm going to get home and I'm going to be stressed and I'm probably going to cry. And I'm going to wake up tomorrow and be stressed and cry because I haven't got this thing done. But obviously he was like, yeah, but you're not going to get it done if you're like crying in the office alone. Like at least go home and you can cry with your friends. Like you don't have to be alone.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's true. Probably should eat as well and everything. So yeah, that would probably be the lowest point of the year.
Which is so fast.
Yeah. But it's gotten better since then. Like I think it was a very stressful time, but it's also, I guess, the whole learning curve of me figuring out how I can deal with my own like stress and time management and stuff. And like whilst yes, there's still a lot to do and there's still a lot of deadlines, it's like I have to figure out ways that I don't let it get to me in that way.
Yeah. I also think like it's like red flags and green flags to look out for in jobs. It's like when you go on dates and you figure out what it is you like in a person, what you don't like in a person. I think it's the same way like this is sort of like your first job. So it's like, well, what do I like about this company? What don't I like? What do I appreciate and want in a new job? What do I'm actively not looking for in a role? Yeah.
And I think it was particularly hard because it was like maybe like it kind of just I think shook my self-confidence a bit because I was like, maybe I'm not cut out for this kind of thing. Like maybe I can't do this. And in hindsight, like looking back after the whole thing happened and I like spoke to my manager and like the people I worked with and got feedback and it was like really, really good feedback and they were like really happy with the work I'd done, even though it was delayed. They were like, this is so good. Thank you so much. Like you've helped so much. And I even said like, I'm so sorry it's late. And they were like, no, like, what do you mean? You've literally saved us on this project. Yeah. And I was like, it's so weird. Then like, obviously that was like confusing for me because I've never, going straight from uni to this, like if you miss a deadline in uni, you failed. Yeah. But like deadlines don't mean the same, but I don't know. So it was just like a low point in my confidence because I really was like, I'm not cut out to work. And then I was like, well, what the fuck should I do with my life then? Like if I can't do this job, I might as well just be jobless and do nothing, which
Yeah.
is also so extreme because you can do something else. You don't have to do that.
I think it's understandable.
But
Like
yeah.
you said, you've put yourself out of like a familiar environment. You've like uni was for a good couple of years. You then moved to this new job, and it doesn't have the same structure as a uni does, with like deadline to deadline to the end. You stress yourself out to the point where you're like, you do question yourself. Like, am I good at, like, I have it where if I make mistakes at work, I do think I'm like, I'm gonna get sacked. I'm not good enough for this. Like, they could probably find something better. But I think it's a good almost like lesson to have, because like every person makes mistakes.
Yeah.
And it's just how you pick yourself back up from them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a good learning curve, and I do feel as though moving forward, I haven't let myself get that stressed again.
Yeah.
And like I've been a lot more open and communicative with my team and with my manager about what I can and can't handle and when I need more help. Because I think also starting out at work, I was like, do not ask for help because they will fire you.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. You know, they're like, no one wants the annoying grad who's just like, how do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this? So like, don't be that person.
Yeah.
But then like now I'm like, that's so not the mindset to have. Everyone asks questions all the time. Like people who are many years my senior will ask me my opinion on stuff or how to help on stuff. And it's just like different experiences and working through different things. And I think, now that was such like a big learning point. At the time, I was like, I'm gonna quit tomorrow because I'm so stressed. And I was like, I think there was like a week of that.
Yeah.
Like a week when it was really bad and I was really stressed. And I was like I'd like wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping because I was just so overwhelmed with stress. And then as soon as I worked through that one thing, and then I was able to like kind of remove myself and like focus a little bit more, I could work through the other things. And it was okay. And now here I am. And I am definitely not letting myself fall back into that pattern again.
Nice. Yeah. So like, as much as you said, like, you don't know what you've been up to this year, like, we learned a lot. We've had some good and some bad moments.
Definitely learned a lot. That's true.
Yeah.
So I guess in a nutshell, that's been our year. But now we are into year 2 of living in London.
Woo-hoo!
And I guess we kind of want to end off this episode with giving you a little bit of insight into what's to come without giving too much away, because obviously we want you guys to be a little bit excited and we would like you to continuously come back and listen to us.
Yeah, find out what's new, find out what's happening next week. What are we
drop
up
some
to?
hints.
Yeah.
But I think first off is we are going to be a little bit more on it with our podcast in general, but also like, social media aspect. We have gotten the advice of a digital marketer, George. That was him.
I was going to say, who will not be named, but no, George.
Oh, sorry.
Our old flatmate George.
Who will not be named. We can beep around.
Oh, no, it's
No, but
fine.
we should market it.
George wants to market. Yeah, George, this was all for you. So if we do really well, creds go towards George.
So we had like some conversations with her, which was really nice, about how we can take our like Instagram and like TikTok accounts a step further, because it is fun.
Yeah.
And we do this because we love talking.
Yeah.
And we also love just like chatting with each other. But it's like we do kind of want something to come out of it. So we're gonna take it a little bit more seriously, I guess.
Which is what I said at the beginning, like obviously for us is like we want to grow in order to like help build a community to help people who don't feel like, I don't know, like London's not the greatest, or like even look for advice like you were saying before about like the low point you had in your job. It's like not everyone really talks about these kind of things. I know there are podcasts that do, and the people on TikTok who do occasionally, but like because it's so centralized to what we like our focus is on, it's like making you not feel as alone as you probably might do. I say probably because I'm like, I think most people do. I mean, if you don't, genuine staying in life, because I feel like at every moment some people go through it where they don't feel like they have as many friends, or their friends are all out and busy. So like we just want to create a very nice community where you feel like you have someone to fall back on. And I'd like to think that's us, but with that comes growth, and so with growth comes building up on social media and like kind of getting the word out there. Like friends of friends listen, like you've obviously work colleagues listen, and I think as long as we continue to grow, that's why we put our effort into like our podcast, into our socials. And obviously, I'm saying that, but like I feel like you'll see our socials like, is this how they grow? Is this what they're doing? But we are learning.
I mean, also if people have advice, that would be great. But we are taking it more seriously. Yeah. And that's not to say that, again, a big premise of who we are is we are unfiltered. We don't script any of our episodes.
Yeah, if you think this is scripted, though, I'd love to know why you
Yeah.
think that, because I don't think we're coming across like we're really scripted.
No, we don't. I mean, obviously, we put a little bit of like thought into it. We're not
Yeah.
just like sitting down and like, well, what the fuck should we chat
And
today?
go. Okay, what are you gonna tell me now?
Well,
Go.
except when you're like, what's your highest point of your life? And I'm like, oh my God, I wasn't prepared. Anyway, yeah, the whole point is that it is unscripted and it is just a play-by-play of our lives, the good and the bad, the happy and the sad, all that shit. And yeah, so we are going to grow it a little bit more. So that's what's to come. We've got some big plans. We've got some Halloween specials.
Yeah, we're coming into spooky season, ladies and gents.
Yeah,
so everybody is ready.
We've got some exciting things planned for Halloween. Isla is taking up baking again.
I've missed it. You know what? I feel like summer is not the time to bake, whereas I feel like coming to fall, it's like Sunday roast, it's baking. And also, I don't know who is listening, but as a fan, but Bake Off is back. Kaylin has not watched Bake Off, so
I've
we have to
never
like
seen
sit her
Bake
down and
Off.
force her to watch it. Unfortunately, we have missed last episode, but that was just because we were looking for a housemate.
Yeah.
I'm hoping by this time this has come out, we have one all secured and
Yeah.
none the wiser. But yeah, so unfortunately I missed the first episode. But come next week, you will see, check out my TikToks for baking for Bake Off with Isla.
Yeah.
That is my attempt, my plan. We'll have some sweet treats and I'll finally get Kate obsessed with Bake Off. I mean, I feel like it's so fundamentally British. You can't be a British citizen, Kate, until you've watched Bake Off. They probably they should have asked you that in your citizenship test.
Yeah. I feel like I watched an episode, but I don't know if this is Bake Off because I think it was The People, but I'm pretty sure it was KSI.
Oh, Celebrity Bake Off.
Yeah. Is that the
Okay.
same thing? Is it like the same show?
Similar,
or is it like
yeah.
a spin-off?
I feel like it's a similar vibe, but they mainly do Celebrity, I think, for Stand Up to Cancer. So I think it's a charity one that they do, but it's not.
Like none of them were bakers. They were all really bad.
Oh yeah, in which case, no, because people apply to do Bake Off who claim to be a good baker, and you obviously want to be star baker. I will explain all this to Kate when she watches the show.
Yeah. Anyway,
but yeah,
I will start that.
Yeah, Bake Off. Blah, I keep getting these words wrong. Baking with Isla for Bake Off will be a segment that I hope will. Well, I'm saying this now on the podcast, so hopefully we'll be held accountable to do.
Yeah.
So I enjoy baking. I like the stress that comes to baking. As much as everyone's like, baking isn't stressful, baking is stressful. I refuse to let anyone tell me differently.
I hate baking.
But it's a stress I enjoy. You just don't follow a recipe.
Yeah.
I feel like this is why we work so well, because you like cooking, but you like just dashing shit in here and there, being like, oh my God, it tastes amazing. You can't do that with baking.
Yeah.
Baking has to be like, it's like science. Like,
I think that's why I don't like it.
yeah.
Yeah. Also, I forget about it. It takes so long.
Well, I mean,
Like I want my thing just like I did it and now I want it to be done.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, we have a bad oven, so
Yeah.
But
it is very nice when I come home and Isla's like, I baked all these brownies. And I'm like, yeah, that's nice. I can get used to this.
Yeah, this is the life we'll lead. But yeah, so I've got some few exciting segments coming up. Obviously, as I've said, as I said, told you, we're house viewing. We're ascending the tenancy for another year, so you'll see us in this house. Hopefully by next week or the week after, you see some feng shui going on here.
Yeah.
We'd like to shuffle the room around a little bit and make it more cozy.
Yeah, a little bit more homely. We have recently done painting of our own.
I was going to say, should give them another look, but it's not there. But
Yeah.
You know what? You'll see it when you see it.
Yeah, you'll see it when it's up here. So we've recently done our own painting because we live in a very white-walled apartment.
You couldn't tell by the wall in the background.
Obviously, we are living here for at least another year. So, we do want to make it more homely. So we've got some like cool DIY home projects, also some like shopping, because like Primark's got some really cute stuff. So maybe like shopping for Primark. So just like kind of general homey things, which we're going to film. We've got some changes in our lives. I've got some change happening in my life within the next month or so. So we'll definitely take you along with that process. Isla's got some exciting plans as well, so she'll take you along.
Yeah, a bit more travel, but that travel, we will not let that stop our podcasting. So there might be some changes to formats and stuff, but...
So we're going to have to, like a fresh new challenge.
Yeah.
But that's also going to be an exciting segment, I guess, of the series.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got some cool things coming. We've actually put a lot of thought into it. I feel like last time it was just one night we were sat here and we were like, you know what, for two people we chat a lot of shit. We should try and make a podcast. And then we went with it and I really enjoyed it. And I hope you guys also really enjoyed it. But I think it was kind of like, it was very much obvious that this was our first time doing a podcast.
Yeah, very on the whim. We were like, let's have a bit of fun. Got some microphones off Amazon and got a tripod, and then was like, yep, that's all we need. Let's go.
Now we're podcasters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're looking to expand just like, I guess just our like podcast knowledge on like how we can improve. And if you guys have anything you want to hear, I mean, I know we said in previous episodes, but genuinely, if there's anything you'd want to discuss, anything going on in your lives, like we're happy to not even like solely focus an episode on you. If you'd love that, we'd love to, but we can easily do it as like a segment where if you wanted to check in any dilemmas you're having, any problems, like we'd love to be there and help. It's kind of like I said, we would love to be a sounding board for people. So that's essentially what we're here for. But yeah, we want to get like more involved and get you guys more involved as well, because I think we really enjoyed having for those who saw Ella on as a guest, like I think to get sort of more of our own, I say community, but like our own little group like involved in this would be really lovely, just so you can kind of get different people's perspectives on what London living is like for them and how everyone is, because obviously we have you can tell from the highs and lows, we have very different perspectives on life. And yet obviously we're still very good friends, and like I obviously knew you were going through some struggles with the whole job department. I never knew how bad it was until sort of afterwards when you were telling me how bad it was. But like same with, I guess, vice versa, you wouldn't have known that, like, well, minus the maths, again, everyone knew how bad the maths was.
I knew about the maths.
But like, okay, in that sense of like the highs, like you wouldn't have known that. For me, those are like my best moments.
No,
so I think it's worth just like bringing these things to light, because I think sometimes these things don't get discussed, and then you might hear something and you're like, oh shit, I didn't know someone else was feeling this way, or like, oh, I'm glad that I'm not the only one feeling like this.
So yeah, we've got exciting things coming. We're going to take you guys along with a lot more of our day-to-day lives. We're going to show you guys a lot more, talk about a lot more. But yeah, we would love to have some episode ideas, some things you'd like to see. We want to try and make it a little bit more interactive. So if people have ideas on how to be more interactive, you know, maybe it's, but like, I don't know if we did like a poll on TikTok or something. I don't know. But like, you know, we want to try get you guys more involved. You guys can voice your opinions. And then, you know, we try and include as much as we can.
That's pretty much sums everything up.
I think it's going to be an exciting next year.
Get ready for season 2, guys. I think you're going to really enjoy yourselves. Right, well, that's us logging off. That's us off. But we will see you guys next week.
See you next week.
Right. Bye, guys. Bye.